Peace and blessings. I'm team member Aaron Glenn, private personal consultant, also advocate for mental health awareness as well. Happy Monday, the beginning of a new week. How was you guys' weekend? Me, myself personally, I just caught up on a little bit of rest. Was just really setting goals and thinking about my goals, just really going over my life, a little bit of reflection. It's what I spent this weekend doing, spending some time reflection, seeing my reflections, my actions, my accountability. Was prepared to read the letter on the 24th, late yesterday. A letter I wrote to myself a year ago on why I started digital marketing, what I desired to achieve from digital marketing in this industry, and everything like that. I read the letter. It was revealing is not even a word that I could really use. It was I don't really know what the moment felt like, to be honest. It's quite shocking nevertheless to see what I had in mind as far as what I want from digital marketing, my desires and goals. I pretty much had some big goals. I was like, I'm on track with that. I've been creating ways to get that. So I'm happy about that. I'm not really um, disappointed about not achieving those goals that I set and wrote down. It just gave me a little awareness, on what to really focus on and how to really focus on that. So hopefully from that experiment, you guys was able to see a bit of accountability on why it's important to write things down and how writing things down can help you manifest. Even though I didn't complete everything on that checklist, from writing it down, I did notice that subconsciously I was always putting myself in position to be able to achieve those goals. So those goals aren't unrealistic, they're just not experienced at the moment. And as long as I continuously push towards that desire, these efforts, the smallest little things that I do will allow me to experience that desire, that reality. It'll be my reality. Those dreams and goals I wrote down for digital marketing. So I'm honestly quite shocked and proud of myself on the steps that I've been taking, this journey, the things I've been learning, my challenges. The challenges the most is what really I appreciate the most overall in this journey, my challenges. Without those challenges, I'd never be able to become the person I am today. And the person that I'm becoming, the person that I'm being molded into, will be really, really appreciated for my future self. I can look back and say that I'm proud of you of what you've been doing, the things you've endured, the way you've handled your challenges, the way you kept going, the way that you're still going. Those are the proudest words that I can say to myself and that I'll be happy to say to myself. If I give myself the patience, the grace, to carry on this journey, to see those goals come to life. And one of the goals that I thought was pretty high out there was to get 300,000 in the first year. So obviously, I mean, if I make that money tonight, my dream will be completed. My goal will be reached. Anything is possible. I could have 100,000 people come on my program tonight or sometime between the hours I go to sleep and wake back up. Uh, a million people could catch this video, find out about my digital products I have, master resale right, high income earning products, digital master rights. I said digital master rights. I'm a little nervous. Yeah, and that's good. That's all right. I'm human. What I'm nervous about and excited about is to tell you about what I have. And what I have is products to help you learn, e-courses to help you learn how to start and launch your own profitable business online from launch to profit in 7 days. All you do is basically a business in a box. It's like a coloring book where you get the colors to use and you know what part to color, what color, step by step. Business in a box. You watch each video step by step on how to start your own business, what tools to use, and so forth and so forth. So far and so forth. So it's like all you do is put in your information as far as the payment gateways and what name you want to brand, as far as marketing, what you want to be known for. It's about leaving a legacy, starting a legacy, having something to be proud of that'll speak for itself well beyond the time of you being here. Team Angie is my legacy. Not only my legacy, but from people that's like me. That's why it's Team Angie, because it's a group activity, it's a group participation as far as spreading mental health awareness, spreading joy through passive income online, teaching people how to boss up, have multiple streams of income, and also have time freedom, which is very important to me. Building this company, Team Angie, come September 22nd to be my third year in business, third year as a solo entrepreneur, third year just, you know, um, starting a legacy and leaving a legacy. And two reasons why I started Team Angie. One was out of desperation because I was running out of resources as far as having an income. Was playing in the streets, doing what everybody do, what they think is cool, whatever reason why. And I had a harsh reality with that life. The reality was I wasn't doing anything that was going to put me in any position to have anything. I was having things, of course, a little money here, a little money there, nice jewelry, cars, clothes. But overall, like, I didn't have any depth to myself. I was always chasing things that didn't really fulfill me, that didn't really satisfy who I am, speak to who I am, and what I really want from this world in this lifetime. And the more I started wanting more, the minute I started wanting more, it was like to achieve these things, I have to clean up my act, I have to clean up my background, I have to clean up the way I carry myself, I have to clean up the way that I think, the way that I view the world, and I have to clean up the way that I engage with the world, as far as hurt people, and I was grieving at the same time. Haven't really been learning how to deal with grief, so I just put it to the side. I just act like I was good, going through life. Traumatizing things, life changing things, things that I changed on my own, things that I didn't want to change. But one thing through it all, I learned change is inevitable. Whether I want things to change or not, it's going to happen. So I just learned to embrace change as a natural thing in life because that's the only thing that's going to constantly change is change. And the more I started standing up and stop running from the changes in my life and start actively being mindful of the changes that I create for myself, I started engaging in life different. I stopped looking at life as surviving it and start thriving in it and start participating in it differently. Start putting down goals, start putting down bad habits, bad mental thoughts, bad beliefs that didn't help me grow, start getting out of my own way. Long story short, it was like I need money, of course. The only way to really have some stable income is to start my own income because I already had felonies at this time and it was a struggle. It's still a struggle to get a job. Even filling out applications now, people want to call me back about my background. They want to do extensive searches, this, that, or whatever, right? But either way it goes, like, it ain't like I could just get these jobs right away. So I have to figure out a way to have the world we live in, currency. But anyway, I had started watching videos about. I always wanted to start a business. I always felt the entrepreneur spirit in me to go and create my own lane as far as when it comes to income. So I started educating myself a little bit, watching some videos, and I had my last check, a few dollars saved up, and it was go time. It was take action or always regret. And at that moment, I felt like I could, stay comfortable in my own ways, my own thinking, and that's the easy route because I had two choices. It was to either do what I always been doing and hope for a different outcome, or do something different and just see what happens. And that's what I did. I did something different. Spent my last check. It was around, September 22nd is when I started it. Actually, it was like the 15th when I got all the legal paperwork started and the name ran through to see if it was all right for me to use Team Angie. Because I had two other names that I used at first, but they wasn't able to go through. So the last name that I had was Team Angie, and that went through, and it was the name that we stuck with. But anyway, I was excited, still excited about upscaling different opportunities. Digital marketing is just an extension to Team Angie and what we do, what we got going on. We have different stuff, and always gonna have different stuff. But now we're about digital marketing, always about mental health awareness. These are the two things that we push out the most because making money is what our main goal is. You know, I'm not a non-profit organization. I don't do stuff for the fame or glory. I don't do things for clout. I don't do things for to be seen. You know, but I do things for profit. I do things because I enjoy what I do, and I don't do it for fun. I like to be compensated, you know, for my expertise, for my time. And money don't motivate me nor move me, but it is a tool that I like to use to help other people. So that's why I work for money. You know, I mean, I create these ways of making money through my time freedom, as far as with my art, my digital products. I have the world as my customer. The job is simple. It's not always easy, but making content is what I do as far as digital marketing for my digital products. I have over 80 art products for sale in my gallery. So on one of my platforms, another platform, I have NFTs, maybe almost 12 to 20 tokens. Working on a few different projects as far as cryptos and digital currencies. But yeah, it's exciting though, you know, learning these high income earning skills and just giving yourself a chance because a lot of this stuff I didn't see coming with digital marketing. Art is a passion of mine, and Team Angie was born out of desperation, out of a way to have an income. And that was number one reason. Number two reason was to leave something behind for my son. You know, everything I do is to be able to leave something behind because I already had left behind and haven't really been in his life, been active like that. And that's something I don't really like, you know, I don't really, it don't really sit too well with me, like, you know, the time missed and the sacrifices to try to build this up so that I can have a way to provide. And a lot of stuff that I did and that I do, well, mainly that I've done was out of pain. You could be walking around blind, you know. The eyes can't see what the mind will see. Mentally, I didn't know about um, building at all. I knew how to destroy things. And that's what I was doing, you know, destroying my future, destroying people's lives, destroying a lot. And that was what was natural and normal. But the consequences of that was losing out on relationships, on opportunities, and basically like sacrificing pleasure for longevity. It's fun now, but later on, did it add to my future? No. So I had to really get rid of that mindset. And by the time I decided to get rid of that mindset, I was already too far gone with destroying the future that I needed to take care of my son. So I had to meet with my reality at that point. It was part of my future, part of my reality where I didn't have many resources because I had destroyed those. And I was beginning to work backwards and start rebuilding, start connecting, and you know, just basically building what I do now. But overall, it takes time to do all these things, and the time that you miss out is the time gone. You really can't get that time back. And what you do in the meantime is even more so important because time always continuously to go. You know, that's what life is about. Life is motion, things constantly moving. You might take a break, but you know the mind is still moving. So whatever has a conscious, it's in motion. Is life. We're all a part of everything that's moving. And I want to just be moving in the right direction. So that's why I spend my time being grounded, educated, and being grateful. Spend a lot of time being grateful. These past few years, I've been learning how to be grateful. And that's been giving me a lot of things to be grateful for. I struggle like everybody else, but I focus on the things that I could control, the things that's been helping me grow, in pursuit of happiness. The things that's not aligned with my happiness, I experience it and I let it go. And I don't let it dictate who I am anymore or how I respond to life. People come around pushing buttons and triggers, but at the end of the day, it's not people who control me. It's not people who dictate my success or my failure. It's the way that I decide to use my energy and use my intellect. So I was like, I could go lay down or I could just use my time and energy and my intellect to know that I'm aware, I'm alive, and I have a moment to create. So I was like, let me go ahead and create and push myself to the limit, not unhealthy, unsafe, but just because if I really want those dreams to come true, I might as well use every hour of the day, whether I went to sleep, took a nap, back up, or whatever, right? But it's like, why not be doing this? Because if I really want those results, then I really would just push it to the limit. Why not miss a moment? Why miss a moment to create when I can be out here creating, This might just be the video, it might not, but I don't know. Everybody has their lucky day. It's just about showing up to your lucky day. And what you do with your time counts. But nevertheless, I was here to put some motivation on your timeline. Whether you're watching on your TV screen, your tablet, or your mobile device, this live or a replay video. Today is August 25th, 2025, and the motivation reading for today comes from Sarah Young, called Jesus Calling, Enjoying Peace in His Presence. And I like to read from this book because it's a day to day word and motivation and inspiration of how you can enjoy peace in His presence. I'm all about balance. And with mental health awareness, it's about balance. Having some type of spiritual nourishment and physical nourishment. The physical nourishment that I do is I get my rest, I eat right, and I move off a lot of energy. Moving right, I don't really think about a lot of food, water, stuff like that. I get what I need, but I don't need it as much. When you in a state of mind of peace, you can move off a lot of energy. So that's another thing that I'm doing, displaying my energy and the way that I lead by example from the videos I like to post as far as educational, motivational, inspirational. These motivational videos to teach you how to meditate, how to be aware, and how to use daily tools to get you to relieve yourself from stress and anxiety, tips and tools to relieve yourself. But nevertheless, spiritual guidance as well. It's a lot of spiritual people out there, spiritual leaders and teachers. And I was just playing a video about how that stuff can go wrong if you don't know God for yourself. This is how I spend time getting to know God for myself. I don't care about what people believe in. Nobody can believe enough in their heart to make me believe what they believe. It's nice to know what you believe, but I know God for myself, and can nobody convince me otherwise. I know what power that I have in Christ, what authority I share with Christ, and it is what it is. I'm not easily swayed, and I just be here for an example to encourage people to be the same way. Whatever you believe in, whoever you believe in, know that spirit for yourself. It's only one God, and I'm not here to convert nobody to anything. I'm just spreading awareness. You can look up information for yourself. You go to your local churches, whoever, whatever, right? If you believe in Jesus Christ, this is for you. If not, then it's not for you. But I encourage you to do find your path. This is just my path. I'm not here to convert nobody into anything. I'm just sharing who I am and what I have to offer you guys as far as making money online, peace of mind, and the true light in the true way. So you don't have to be out here scheming and scamming and trying to do all these things to have something because it's really not worth it. That ain't what we were here for. And I was once in that path in the darkness, being led by the blind, making stupid decisions, messing up my future. Thank God that I still have the presence to still be here because a lot of people have lost their way along the way. And it's sad to see people go so soon. I've lost people not due to the violence, not due to, certain things, but different people, different ways. And it's just, you can get lost up in that. Um, People play a major role in your life. People come and go. Some by choice, some by accident, and some God called home. But you want to be a good influence, nevertheless. And when you see somebody lost, you just want to be the one that they could look at and be like, well, there's something about this person. Why they not following the crowd? What's to them? And you don't do or say anything. It's like an apple tree gonna stand there and be an apple tree. Whoever finds it, they're going to partake in that fruit, and it's a good thing. And that's exactly how we are as children of the light. We're just gonna be leading by example, be that tree, that person who's so rooted in what they know is right and what they know what they should be doing, that people can just come and see and they will act your way and what you know is right and what you know God to be. You won't be withered by what you believe and what you think God to be and misleading other people. Just like I was misled by other people who wasn't rooted in knowing God for themselves. Is things they heard that sound good and they're telling me it sound good, and it's a bunch of unrooted information and feel good, rah rah type of stuff. And people out here looking for something to hold on to. We're all looking and seeking something. And God is giving us that, want to know that communion is what it's called, because He wants us to get to know Him, and we want to know who created us. We want to know what we're made for. We want to know why we're here. And we often don't ask our Creator. We don't spend time in solitude to ask these questions. It's basically what you do in prayer. You spend time. You don't go in a mountain and you go pray to God. It's something sacred. It's a sacred communion. It's a sacred relationship, a sacred bond, and you be rewarded openly. You can speak on these things openly because it's not so secret, but sacred, meaning special and treasured. It's delicate. It's precious information. Activities, if you want to say. So yeah, sacred prayer is a communication way that you communicate with the God, the Creator. You want to spend time getting to know, so you want to easily swayed by people's belief and what they think they might know, because a lot of people think a lot of shit. A lot of people don't know a lot of shit. A lot of people don't even know how to study. A lot of people don't write stuff down. They don't take notes. They just hear a lot of stuff and they go talk a lot because people like to talk. And a lot of people like to follow because that's what the world is about. Follow me on Instagram, follow me on this, that, whatever, right? You get it, but everybody looking for somebody to follow, who making it the fastest, who getting the most, and all this competitiveness. Social media makes it even worse. People not telling you what they're doing for this fame, and what they're really doing and usually doing is selling out. And they're sounding good, looking good, but they're not telling you what comes with all this stuff. Me, honestly, I've just been telling you guys my journey. Like, it might look like whatever it looked like. I don't know. I don't care. But at the end of the day, like, it's not easy. It's simple, but not easy. Some days it's hard to, like I was just saying, to push yourself to want to do content where you might had a long day. You might not have had any focus. You might not even have any nourishment. Whatever, right? You might get bad calls, or people might be calling the bug, or, you know, it's a lot. And it's just 2 of those hours to your work, working from home, working from the beach, wherever the fuck you want to work at. Remote work requires at least 2 hours a day putting these content out, editing the videos, putting out the ads, um, putting out the emails. It's a lot of shit that come with this. It's stages to it. It's a lot of different components. Not to complain, but it's just like, being realistic. I could tell you, like, oh, you want to be a content creator? Okay, well, just being a content creator, if you don't have any products, you still got to put this type of effort into doing this type of work, because this is a content creator's job. Posting videos, putting in the titles, the descriptions. If you have products, you'll put the links. If you know anything about SEO marketing, you'll put the tags in. If you know anything about imaging and thumbnails, you will know how to put the pictures together. Like, it's a lot of stuff that you actually need to know. Not only that, if you're not just looking to go copy somebody else's video and say, here goes a title to it, that type of shit, the remixing videos, like that's not really content creating. Content creating is this: me right now talking to you, speaking what's on my mind live. Nobody else just made this video because nobody else is me, nobody else is Team Angie talking about what Team Angie is talking about. Unless you make a copy of this video, editing it right now, but at the same time, that's still not original content. So that's just a basic idea of what creating content is about. Creating content alone, not even having any products, just getting monetized on social media enough to where they like your content, and now you're in position to receive subscriptions, paid subscriptions for your content. So that's what monetization is, and that's what content creating is. Whatever your niche may be, everybody do everything. Everybody do the same stuff, which is nothing new under the sun. It's all right, but the thing is to put your own style to it, your own taste, your own touch, and just be as authentic as you can without bar for bar, pace for pace. Copy a motherfucker because you really ain't doing nothing new. But a lot of people would like to watch you and be inspired and forget who they are trying to be you. And the problem with that is God created everybody for a specific reason. Whenever you're not grateful for who you are, first of all and foremost, that's an ungrateful spirit. No matter who successful you try to be like, you're never going to be like them. You're never going to be happy, even if you do halfway become them, because God didn't make you to be like nobody else. And for you to be ungrateful for who you are, and what you contribute to this world, that's a very selfish spirit to have. For the rest of your eternity, the rest of your reality, you're going to experience ungratefulness until you be like, okay, I'm enough. Just like Moses in the Bible, he felt he wasn't enough. He had companionship, and we all have companions. Everybody is always around telling us whether we decide to listen or not, whether they tell us the right way or not. What's being said is always the underlying fact that if somebody telling you right, whether you want to hear it or not, it's been said. And with that being said, you should know how to adjust. Whether you want to or not, that's solely and totally up to you. But at the end of the day, it's like we all got something to offer in this world. We all got something. Whether you're the loser, the winner, both experiences are needed. Both people are equal in that position. We both competed. For us to even compete on the same plane, we have to be equal. I can't arm wrestle with somebody who's not already feeling like my equal when it's for taking a chance, for showing up, for giving yourself a try. I said that to say this. Just give yourself a try. You might not always win. You might not always lose, but you definitely lose when you don't put yourself out there and give yourself a chance to be authentic as far as who you want to be. God frowns upon that. When you're not happy with who you are, some people die in their sleep, to wake up and not be grateful that you even get to experience this 24 hours a day and put your best effort in is it's a low vibrational it's a low vibrational move, it's a low way to live. But nevertheless, no more about me, more about this word, which I feel like I read it, but my mind be going some here everywhere, which is crazy, huh? Like, damn, you talk so much, you don't remember if you read or not? No. I smoke a lot too, but that don't mean I'm done. Don't ever try to play me because I know what's going on too. I just let people play dumb. Somebody smart can play dumb to stoop to the dummy's level, but a dummy can't play smart. And that's just what it is. You could try to play all day, but you can end up playing yourself at the end of the day because you run out of moves to play. Today, I said it and I ain't read it, but today is August 25th, 2025, Monday. I am the eternal I am. I always have been, I always will be. In my presence, you experience love and light, peace and joy. I am intimately involved in all your moments, and I am training you to be aware of me at all times. Your assignment is to collaborate with me in this training process. I have taken up residence within you. I can central in your innermost being. I am central in your innermost being. Your mind goes off in tangents from its holy center, time and time after time. Do not be alarmed by your inability to remain focused on me. Simply bring your thoughts gently back to me each time they wander. The quickest way to redirect your mind to me is to whisper my name. So that's pretty dope. Like even throughout the days, I have to be like, Lord, I give myself to you, or give my thoughts to you, and this what it is. And then even when the Jesus was walking around, he had times where it's just like he sat down and prayed. He had all power. He could have did whatever he wanted to do to a motherfucker, but it took a lot of grace and patience to deal with people. So he demonstrated that by praying. That's exactly what this saying. Like shit. So you don't go off on motherfuckers and even stoop to their levels like shit. Sometimes you just gotta simply call on his name. That's what he say. The quickest way to redirect your mind. A lot of people lose their mind, then they be in jail or whatever, be in silly situations trying to explain silly shit. But then you just look dumb, just like I was just saying, like it's some dumb shit. So what you want to get out of that is, because like I say, you're not promised the next moment. People die every day, all day, over any and every little thing. You're not promised nothing. That's not what we're promised to live a life without problems, without difficulties, without the bullshit. Know y'all been hearing about the aliens coming back and all this and that. It's a lot of crazy stuff going on. It's a lot of stuff to focus on. But what's truly important is knowing yourself, knowing your creator, and knowing what's possible. Knowing that I put all this digital art out there, putting the link out there, it's like how can I not achieve my goals? Knowing I spend time creating the NFTs and the AR20 coins, contracts, how could I not achieve the goal? So it's like what you do with your time matter. With the digital products, it's fine, but it's about 100% profit. It's nice to make that, but it's even better to know, like, I got my own products available. Affiliate marketing is another nice way to make money online, especially when people are already established and you partake in it. But there comes a point where you just gonna have to really boss up. Create your own lane, create your own products to get started, start you off 200 product ideas. Same as like finding your niche. Everybody find their own lanes. Whoever stick with it though, motherfuckers can't discover you one day. You here one day, you gone. A lot of motherfuckers who fake try to train me about some shit that ain't even online no more.
There's something stronger than the mind. The mind can be your friend and the mind can be your enemy. You worked so hard for it. Now you have it. Enjoy it. But you can't enjoy it if all the time you think about last week or if you think all the time about what happens in the future. Enjoying what you have is you arrive exactly where you are right now with what you have. That's it. There is no wishing for something more of the wishing for something that wouldn't have happened of the past. No, you are in the present. That's it. And realize this about yourself. The more you integrate this just into your normal being, then it starts to shift. Just bring more presence into present. If I observe myself, the most of the time I'm present and I'm realizing when I'm not. When I'm absent, I realize it. When I'm present, it's my normal state. For other people, maybe it's the other way around. You're always present. You just don't know about it. There's some layer on top of presence which somehow makes you think you're not in the present, but we're always in the present. Just the realization that you are is not there because it is overlaid by thoughts. If you take the thoughts away, you will realize, oh, there it is. One approach that we have at the moment in this world is, in order for us to feel full, we need to do something. You need to have your diploma, you need to have your job, you need to have money, you need to have the first car, you need to have. So this approach is about you need doing. But the realization that I was just telling you right now that you have yourself is, no, it's not about, this time it's not about adding something there. It's about this here must go. Oh, there it is. Nothing needs to be done. It is something we have to undo. This is the Eastern approach. It's the balance. You don't have to throw away everything that you have learned. It's just that there are more perspectives, that when you have access to both of these perspectives, just find out for yourself. Sometimes this makes more sense, sometimes, well, important part is, as long as you have it, you can choose when to use it. But if you don't even have it, you can't use it. So what does it mean? Whatever there is to learn in this world, it's never wrong to learn it. You never know if you will need it one day. And then it's better to have than to need. It is one way out of many that are existing. I did talk only about this my whole life because I walk this way. It doesn't mean it's the only way. It's just that for so long, my understanding of how these practices interfere or are connected with building a life that you think is worth living. That's it. What is the
That's what we was talking about. Like, what is you made for? If you never figure out that question, you need to really start thinking about that shit. Can nobody answer that for you? It's a lifestyle. It ain't nothing for day-to-day practice, day-to-day choice, moment for moment. See how rooted this man is and what he knows. It ain't no shit that he hearing about. It's a daily practice. Daily conscious of what he decided to do and sharing the knowledge. This ain't no motherfucking magical type of situation. You will hear him say time and time again, like, ain't shit just gonna happen for you.
Shaolin practices doing for me? Help me build up a quality life. That's it. Ultimately, it's the mind. You make your body strong. You have movements that on the one side also sometimes are quite aesthetic. And it's so nice and whole for me. There's everything involved. There is diet involved. There is structure involved. Like, when would it be good to wake up? When is it good to go to sleep? And all of these things. So it's a whole nice, let's say, culture, tradition. This is what I find so nice about it. That the search is over. You don't need to search for, like, here I take this yoga practice, and then from here I take the breathing exercise, take like the dancing moves, and they have like a mix-up menu. But mixed menu maybe give feeling of you have some freedom, yeah, but structure gives you direction. You eat at 8 o'clock, then you have training fine until 11. When you finish the training, you're hungry already, but you need to wait until 1 o'clock. Cannot eat in between. Yeah, but why can I not just go to the kitchen and eat when I'm hungry? Because this is your mind telling you. But there's something about you which is stronger than the mind. The mind can be your friend and the mind can be your enemy. And if I'm telling you there are 3 times per day eating, that's it. In the first weeks, still you're thinking about eating, you're hungry, all of this. But at some point, you will have accepted it. That, okay, 8 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 6 o'clock. You're okay. And what does it mean? Now the real freedom has come. Now you're free. Because even if you're hungry and you say next food is at 6 o'clock, no problem, I can wait, it's good. And you're free. Not free is, it's 2 o'clock, I'm already hungry, 4 more hours, I need to eat something. I cannot wait until 6 o'clock anymore. This is not free. This idea of what does freedom mean to you, does it mean you can go to the kitchen the mind? Free, no matter what the mind tells you. You can wait, I can wait. This is where now you see that sometimes it's necessary to have this obvious structure and discipline. But why? Because it's a helpful way to bring out that type of freedom that we say from our tradition. This is the freedom. It's also not the freedom in terms of you walk through Cluj, yeah, many beautiful women. But at home you have your own women sitting already. Now you could say, well, it's a free world, we're all free. So my wife is at home, but actually I can still flirt around. This is a way of where you say, well, this is freedom. Yeah, but where does this type of freedom lead to? It's leading to suffering. You're causing suffering by behaving this type of free. No.
And to back that up, we could go state for state. Everybody knows the disease rate and it's steady rising. Not only that, which is the number 1 killer, the number 2 killer. Playing around with people's emotions, motherfuckers getting murked. You see the stories on Instagram, you see them on social media, all over wherever they show a video at. Somebody getting killed for playing around. Or somebody out here passing around that package. So it really ain't nothing to play with. But you know, free to do whatever, right?
If you have one wife, you stay with that one wife, that's it. And you stay free from suffering. If somebody is tempted too much, if somebody cannot handle his temptation, he's enslaved by temptation. And at some point, this type of behavior is not just
It ain't silly, foolish. It's also dangerous. You can watch video after video, y'all could be the judge of silly people doing silly things.
by temptation. And at some type of behavior is not just
Man, that shit's kind of irritating. It's always something.
somebody is tempted too much. If somebody can his temptation, he's enslaved. Point, this type of behavior is not just
What about this?
going to bring suffering to everyone that you are involved in. This is where I say, what type of freedom are you talking about? And the freedom that eventually is going to get onto the costs or is causing suffering to you and other ones. This is not the freedom we want. It's the type of freedom that makes us be able to live together in a community way better. This is the way of freedom, where I can let you live the life how you like to live it, and you let me live my life how I like to live it. I don't need to tell you your way is wrong, you should live like I do. No, this is not free, this is limited. This is thinking you have the answers to the questions of the universe. Well, you don't, just as like I don't have. The only thing I'm sharing right now is my observation. I don't say it's right for anyone, I just say until now, everything we talked about, it worked for me. If something is useful from what we have talked about and somebody tries it out and then realize, cool, also works for me, I'm really happy about it. But if somebody says, well, this is not my way of living, I don't share this opinion, it's not a problem. What is it in the evening that is sucking energy most probably? It's the mind. It's the mind activity, very much. A lot of energy. You go to bed, you wake up not recovered. It might be the reason that your mind is still too active in the evening. Stop thinking, stop dreaming too much about the future. Practice yourself, remain in the present, and this also then translates into your quality of sleep. Because when you sleep, you sleep. When you eat, you eat. When you talk, you talk. When you work, you work. But nowadays, people work and they think about eating. People eat and they think about sleeping. People sleep and they think about working. So there's something not aligned. There is no synchronicity. You are here, but actually something else is there. This is not how it's supposed to be. Being present means you sleep, you sleep. You talk, you talk. You eat, you walk, you walk. You drive, you drive. You listen, you listen. This is ultimately where all of this journey goes. And then the amount of sleep is not so important, but the recovery rate is very, very different. I'm happy if I have 7 hours. When I have 7 hours, I'm happier. 6 hours is quite limited. So 6 is really limit. I can maintain even 5 or 6 hours, but after a few days, I feel it's not good to continue like this.
It skipped a lot, but it didn't skip over nothing important. But nevertheless, though, common sense ain't common. A lot of this will go over a lot of people's heads. And what I talked about earlier was accountability. And that's where a lot of people lack. So that's where a lot of people will misunderstand what he's saying. And they will want to argue or, go back and forth. And I'm not saying his way is right or wrong either. I'm not here to argue with a motherfucker. I don't give a fuck what you believe or don't believe. I'm just spreading awareness. If you, like you say, you get something from it, that's good. If not, well, hey, this not for you. But yeah, let's get back into it.
Because then you're starting to really burn some energy which you cannot recover anymore. Very interesting now when it comes to that word energy, how it is related to diet, breathing, and lifestyle. The quickest way to change something about the way how you feel: diet, breath work, and lifestyle. If you have good nutritious food, if your breathing apparatus is working properly, and if your lifestyle, let's say waking up at a certain time, going to bed early enough, having enough sleep, if you maintain all of these 3 things, chances are very, very good that your energy level is proper. If the diet is not, your breath is not good, if your lifestyle is not good, still you are alive. In order to make you still functioning, it is coming from something that we, let's say, in ancient tradition call your essence, which means ultimately no good lifestyle, no good food, no good, very simple. So that's it. You have some mindset where challenge is not an obstacle for you, where difficulties in life is nothing that stops you, but a challenge in life, a conflict that comes up. everything that makes you feel uncomfortable at the first glance. It's nothing that is depressing you. It is something where you actually realize that is the next area of my growth. Because it is so heartbreaking, because it goes so deep, it carries the potential for the highest transformation. So this type of change of perspective, if you want to see it bad, it's going to be bad. But if the circumstances right now are like this, and with the mindset which is in your hands, you transform it somehow, the highest transformation can happen. And this is, I think, this is why I like so much in the Buddhist teachings. No one sentence is, with our thoughts we create world. The circumstances are not going to change. What happened to you is not going to change. But dependent on how you are tuning your thoughts, something about it is going to change. This is why mind is so important, because it is ultimately outside there, the wars, everything is not going to change, because it's not dependent on what you want. You can, what is going to be the consequence of what comes to you? How will you transform it? Will you let it stuck inside of you and it slowly eats you up from the inside? Or do you make something different about it? And this is based on the thoughts, on the mental redirectioning of yourself. Yeah.
How do we keep going when we lose hope?
Either you have very strong personalities next to you that realize you're about to lose hope, and that's why they keep pushing you, which means that's why it's good to sometimes have a brotherhood or a sisterhood or somebody you are very close to.
Now that's very important. That's what we mean by community. And I want to overstress that part because that's what I offer. Community, team, Angie. You know, a community of like-minded individuals, which is important because sometimes you're going to need help on the journey to keep going. And when you unaligned with people that don't see your vision, your journey, or who not headed the direction you are, they could be the very ones to pull you back or keep you in a position where you are un, unhappy. And then ultimately, that's what it is. You know, people stay where they're unhappy because they're comfortable. And where they're comfortable, there's usually no growth. And unfortunately, you know, people, they don't see the benefits in having community. And when they meet these in their life, there often be the times where they meet the end of their rope, what they call is rock bottom. And these people usually have a hard time trying to overcome, you know, the challenges that they're facing, that they're dealing with, those new challenges. Like you said, there are challenges. We may deal with a lot of things that's similar, but sometimes those things, they evolve. Like you may have experienced a loss of someone at some point in time, but same as what other challenges. And that's just something that we all can relate to, whether it be a relationship fail or, you know, grieving someone's death. But community is very important. And I always stress that because they might be your lifeline to help you stay in the game. It's like Jesus set that example. You can't do it alone. He had 12 disciples, 12 people to help him out, help him stay steady.
People, they can sense, they know when your motivation is down and you cannot get up by yourself. That's why you have them. Then they come and help you. It's good to have sometimes a bond like this. The second thing is, if somebody is losing hope already, maybe the vision that gives the hope is not strong enough. Hope dies at last. I really think so in a way too. But if the hope dies too early, before that, that was not hope. That was maybe an idea that you have. Maybe it was like a motivating thought that you had. But it was not hope. Hope is really, really deeply, deeply embedded, where internally you don't care about what 8 billion other people say.
It creates a positive mindset.
In my way of seeing the things, it's about understanding that this world that we are living in, simply expressed, there's always an exchange between the left side and the right side, the bad side and the good side, the negative and the positive, the pessimistic and the optimistic. That's why for me, those two, they always belong together. And it is normal for me that sometimes circumstances are bad, but I also know, at the moment, but it's an exchange. Sooner or later, it will be also becoming good again. Now I'm a little bit depressive, but it's gonna change. Same way is, now everything is positive, but I know it's gonna change. Things are changing. Would propagate, my mindset would be that you are neither stuck in a negative one, but you're also not stuck in a positive one. So your mindset would be one that at all times always sees actually the exchange of this one and this one. And sometimes, out whatever reasons, sometimes it's more based upon here, question of time, I move here. So to understand the interplay of these two and accept it actually that also the negative part is part of my life. As long as I also take care that it doesn't stay for a too long time in my life, I can have my bad days. Because to push yourself in having positive thoughts, be optimistic, I don't know, can also sometimes be like you see people do it, but you can feel they're not. They behave like everything would be great life, but I can see inside it's not. You have to be as you are, based with all two forces. It's just that stay calm, nothing stays as it is. See the interplay always of both forces, and then get calm about it and regulate it. Somewhere along the line, maybe it becomes balanced then. It's about fullness. How full do you feel? If somebody wakes up every morning without any goal, without any purpose, but feels just fulfilled, no need for purpose. But I think in the modern society, we find it probably a phenomena. You have everything, more or less, wake up, but there is this discontentment. Don't know what to do with your time. Don't know the sense of, I don't know. And then I think sense to act just as a motivator. It makes sense to give your life a purpose. Also meaning not searching for it. In the first stage, don't need to search for it, meaning what is my purpose? You have to ask the question, but you necessarily search for it. First is you give your life a purpose. So you can say you put yourself a mission statement. First thing is just you need to keep going. You need to do something in order to use of the lifetime that has been given to you. But along this, we're going to change. There will come the period you do, and then you realize all actually brought nothing. So maybe you will return back to it's about the non-doing, and then you do nothing again. But then at the same time you realize, but with all the non-doing, I know I could more. Then you start doing again, and along this way, you're gonna figure out the middle way for use of them. It's not about being active all the time, and it's also not about being passive all the time. It's about being present in all of these times.
What is
And that's the hardest thing to do. One of the hardest things to do, especially with digital marketing. Like you said, you'll be at one point where you're busy, you're creating videos, creating content, posting content. Because it's one thing to create content, right? And put it in your edit files and just leave it there. Nobody will discover you that way. And also, it's not digital marketing, it's just make a video. There'll be a time where you're creating videos and posting videos, making content. As far as selling your products, people might not buy. You might put out really good videos. You might feel that it's really good. Might not even get a view. And those moments are challenging. Those times are hard, especially if you've been doing it for a while. Um, you might be doing it a certain way that feel comfortable. You might be doing it wrong, might be doing it right. It just might not be bringing no results. And it just might be that season. Who knows? It's not nothing to do with you. But the thing that you can do is not give up, be discouraged. Be a time where you might take a bit to adjust. That's kind of like a time of not doing. But overall, it still counts to your overall journey, finding your way and getting that experience that you want from it. You want to make money online. That's really probably your overall goal and experience. So you just keep doing it until you finally get that first payment, and then you learn what to do to keep doing it. But nevertheless, though, it's a time where you're going to be busy, and it's a time where you really need to rest. I learned that very valuable. And the way that I was doing these 90-day challenges, participating in those, certain platforms, posting, the way that I was posting, the way that I was making videos, I stopped. Started re-examining, started doing different things, start getting busy again, start seeing different results. Now, it's like I feel like taking a break again. Now start, but it's just because I'm taking breaks to analyze what's going on, and it's a part of the journey. You get to a point where it's like, all right, I got it. Now I know what to do. Let me adjust. You start figuring out the adjustments. You do that for a long time until you get used to it, get familiar with it. See what comes from it. Take a break, do your analyzations. All right, I know what I'm doing. Tidy up a little bit. Now you're working with the new adjustments. And that's just what it is. You're giving yourself those runs to see how these new adjustments fit, what direction these adjustments take you, and what are you gaining from it all. Nothing's ever lost. You might not gain right away. You might gain right away. But all throughout, all of your efforts are building that momentum for when your time of abundance comes, you'll be ready to handle it. Not only that, you'll be able to take your breaks when those breaks are needed because it's a part of moving forward and growing. But it's about balance overall, nevertheless.
It's a healthy relationship.
I'm not about human relationships. I'm not talking about love relationships only. There can be many type of relationships. First that just comes to my mind is in order that there is a type of relation, that means there must be already at least more than two components involved. These components then have a connection. This is number one. If there is no connection, it's difficult to determine any type of relation between them. So first we need a connection. That connection can mean that feeling-wise maybe, based on the emotion that is in resonance, which means there is something that two beings have in common. That's why it's resonating. So if this type of connection is already there, then I think it's a good starting point. On the other side, what can also happen is that in the mind, you are having a desire for something, but the feeling is not one of connection that you have there. In the mind, it says, yes, I want, but feeling-wise, it's not there. This is for me not a good starting point. How do I know if a relationship can develop into a healthy way? I think you must directly start right from the beginning. If the feeling with which you have entered into this relation, no matter what type, if there is resonance. Of course, we think we know what we want. The question is that what you want, does the dog wants? And if there is no basic, if there is no way that you can connect, And after the connection, what is happening then? Exchange. Exchange, giving and taking. Meaning also, if within one type of connection, if one type of relationship, the flow is always one directional, it's not going to work. So after connecting, after resonance, then the question is, how do you see the flow of exchange within this bond? And if it is a healthy flow where nothing is stagnating, there is a giving and a take, but it's there. So this flow, then I think a relationship can develop in very nice directions. In my view about, I believe in cause and effect. Simply meaning, you plant an orange seed, you get an orange tree. You plant an apple seed, you get an apple tree. How did I become the way how I am today? I am the effect. Who is the cause? My parents. So why can I be here? Why are we able to talk? Because of my parents. And everything that you can trace back, thanks to my parents, that's why there is gratitude. Why can I do in the martial arts field the things that I can do? Because I had teachers that made the things. Gratitude, all of the people, all the masters and teachers taught me these methods. The friends, the ones why you are still a person today, believes in hope, who believes in keep going, who believes in still have it. Well, gratitude to all these companions that you have met in your lifetime. So everybody will find plenty of people or beings, also animals, no problem, where you feel like that without them, you would have never become the person you are today. And the ultimate gratitude is, I think, once again, to this one who allowed everything to happen. And this is why I don't know if you call it the universe, if you would want to call it the nature, but there is probably something that we cannot just give a name, but without it, we would all not be here. And so there also goes a huge amount of gratitude towards life itself. Being able to live, being able to see colors, being able to speak, being able to listen to things. I see when you start to see the glimpses of truth. When you see that the truth makes you feel free. This is when you start to realize there is something I can do. Only one of these moments must come. And if you pay more attention to them, more of them will come. How long do you have to keep up the structure? Until you realize that you don't have to be the slave of your mind. In our approach, this is the beginning to freedom. To not be enslaved again only by your mind. Because the mind is way less than what you can become. Or the mind is way less than what you actually already are. But the mind is too dominant in many people's lives. So all of this structure here is for what? To realign and to give you a new perspective about how you should see the relationship between you and your mind. And the relationship is that you need to master the mind and not the mind is master you. These are two different ways. But ultimately, you will not need any type of external structure anymore. Once you have understood the core, once you have the essence, I think then all structure you can lay down. Discipline means you just do it, no matter what you think of it. You don't want to make it, you still make it. You want to stop the training, but you still make it. There is no excuse because you just simply have to weigh the order. It is important, but there are many more things that you are able to work on. You can learn to become more patient with less judgment, observing more, instead of judging. Start to live a more honest life, less lying to other people, less lying to yourself. It's not just discipline. There are questions, so what is the most important? Everything is important. Everybody in this world will have the chance and will have access to practice in self-mastery. There are many of these things which in the beginning make it maybe easy for you to get a feeling of security, get a feeling of safety, and because you are safe, you are able to open more up. But I think a good life is when you live this life to the fullest, regardless of where you are, regardless of in which life circumstances you find yourself in. There are so many things we cannot influence. Everybody needs to find something, to find stability in whatever life you're living there. And even if it's in the war zone, they still need to find something stable there. Maybe they will never be able to leave their country. But even for them, there is the chance to find something stable about them and to make something good from this lifetime. And may it even be they still have a close bond between their families, between their brothers. Something like this, something where they feel this gave me strength, this gave me power. Even something like this can lead to a good life. To the question, where do I start? Find something in your own life at the moment or in the last week that made you feel not okay. And then start investigating it. What was not okay? Which area is it? What was not okay there? And then you figure out what are the 2 points supposed to be that you want to balance there. And how do you know that something is not in balance or that something is not in harmony? You simply know because you don't feel well. Or there's something telling you this is not correct. Or it should not be. And sometimes, or oftentimes, is the balance between the expectations that you have towards persons, towards situations, towards things, and then the reality that you're meeting. If those 2 things are not somehow harmonized, if you don't try to make those 2 areas merge into one, constantly be in the struggle of this is how it should be
That
and
happens
this
a
is
lot.
how it is.
When you don't listen to your intuition, when you feel something not right, when you think something not right, you ultimately know you are not in a good situation, but you refuse to take yourself out of it. This is exactly what we're talking about. Not trusting. It's important part of peace. You desire to have peace.
Now this attention is able to penetrate deeper and you can start observing things about yourself. And how do you do this? How do you get the attention to a retreat? How do you retreat? You can practice martial arts, you can practice Kung Fu, and you can practice Qigong in such a way that you will realize all these practices with yourself. You realize for yourself when you were having the hard training and you were pushed to your limits, in the moment where you are reaching the limits, you don't have time to listen to the birds singing. You don't have time to think about any problems. You don't dream about any movie and you don't dream about any holiday. The only thing you care about is what and how you make something with yourself. Concentrate, stay more focused. It is something you are figuring out for yourself, how to maintain the concentration. But the reason why you made it is because you made some kung fu, because you made some training. So you use the training method, you use the kung fu, you use the qigong in order to get back to yourself. And this is why the kung fu and the qigong are two very, very helpful methods in order to get access again to yourself.
Invest your lifetime in elevating the openness of the heart for you. This is the elevation. But outcome is not going to be one that keeps the relationship alive on the long term. So if jealousy is a problem that you carry from one relationship to the next, to the next, to the next, and then one day you are wondering, why are you not able to keep up a relationship? Well, this is another type tries to trigger how much are you internally elevated, evolved, how much have you matured, have you grown inside of yourself. And the amount of tests, the amount of challenges, they are infinite ways how to test you. But one thing always stays the same. You need to find a way to overcome them. The only thing I realize is that I can be in two different states of the mind. I can be continuously mind-based, and whatever comes on my mind, this is what I am acting upon. Whatever comes to my mind, I'm going to act on it. So just right now, if I feel like, oh, I'm hungry, so then I follow up on that thought. I walk somewhere, grab something to eat, come back here, eat. But another way, another state of the mind is simply that right now, for example, I'm talking with you. And of course, I can observe myself how maybe sometimes thoughts are popping up. The difference right now is that I am first of all not directly identifying. I know they have popped up, but for the fact of that I'm speaking with you, this is at the moment what matters more to me than to eat or to drink something. But because I can see the thoughts popping up, decide to not identify myself with it because it has just come to my attention. This thought has only come to my attention, but that's it. Just because something comes to your attention doesn't mean you have to act upon it. One thing is to hold on to the thought. This is already the first thing that many people sometimes do. A thought comes up and you actively actually hold on to it. The second, thing is, I don't want to be unaligned. This is what I don't want to be. Everything about me, I want it to be aligned. What I think, is what I do, is what I act up. It's one way. It's not two options. So what is a very special moment? It is when no matter what you're doing, you just do. It's one. You're not thinking about what you're doing. What you think is what you do. It is synchronized as one. And this is what year-long martial art practice is doing. Is training you, is displaying to you that mind and body can unite to such a deep level that it has nothing to do. It's the pure expression of what you are, not who you are, what you are. So if you want to have a specific outcome, there is a rational way of how to achieve this outcome. But what if the outcome is not in our hands? Sometimes you walk through this lifetime, it doesn't matter what you have done. Sometimes you are encountering why they show up. Why exactly in this moment of time they have appeared in your lifetime. There is nothing rational about it, but there is a deep truth embedded in this. Meanwhile, it's my personal feeling. You are never meeting somebody by coincidence in this lifetime. Everybody who appears in your lifetime, they are there for a reason. And maybe it's for you to figure out this riddle. Why is that person coming to your life? What is that lesson you are supposed to learn? Why nowadays do different places like monasteries, like ashrams, frameworks, picking up a certain environment? And in this environment, it just makes it easier to cultivate something specific, let's say. But for the beginning, to really develop something, it is very helpful to have the proper framework. And this is what the monastery and ashram, retreat places, being calm, being isolated a little bit for yourself. This is where it helps in the beginning. Solve every problem now. Now. That's the only way. What I don't solve now, 10 minutes later, I still have it. I'm not talking about the financial department, not this type of problems. I talk about the internal conflicts that you carry around. The internal human-made because it is a part of you. So if you want to live in paradise, that means you have to become already right now the paradise. If you can't find the paradise inside of yourself, you're not going to find it tomorrow. That first arrow is the fact of you walk through this lifetime, you will encounter things that in the first moment, it's going to happen to all of us. But now the question is, after something like this has now afterwards, many people are still dwelling in the past, carrying the suffering and the pain from that event still with them. Even if a month has passed, a year has passed, 10 years have passed, it's still there. This is the literal example for remaining too much still in the past. And this is the second arrow, for example. When you start walking through this lifetime, every human being is going to encounter different moments, different situations that are going to trigger something that most of us would regard as unpleasant. This is already the beginning where we are saying, walking through this lifetime, you will encounter suffering. In many going to the dentist, having a surgery, hitting your knee again. This type of suffering is especially hard when it now comes to the loss of beings. So meaning if you had a very close relationship to an animal, if you had a very relationship to your parents or to a beloved one, and then this person passes away, there is also the suffering of this loss. So the bottom line for all human beings is, when getting born and start walking through this lifetime, we are going to encounter suffering. You could say, yes, this is the normal way of life, so there's no way around it. In the here and now, in the moment, regardless of what you are doing, to experience the states of being free of suffering. One way to this are the so-called meditation. Literally put you simply in the here and now. Being in the past too much, thinking about what happened to you last year, how people insulted you last year, what you lost last year. So that means right now, the two of us talking, but the fact is, it happened last year, but right now you're still, because your mind is in the past. Now we don't know what the future is going to, I don't know how this year is going to evolve, in which countries the next week. Oh, what's going to happen next week? What will I do when they come into my country? So at the same time, you can recall the suffering also by spending too much time jumping into the future. So being in the past, being in them are already sources where you're going to find suffering. As long as there is separation existing, separation from the present to the past, from the present to the future, from you to your surroundings, from good and bad, from having and losing, from living and dying. So the more your mind is based on either this or that, the more you see this separation, the higher the chances are cannot find a way how to unite them. Then it is automatically related to suffering. And so there's only one way how to reduce it, at least personally for everyone. Everything that you can observe in your lifetime, that you can observe from the moment you wake up in the morning, everything we are regarding as separated, figure out a way how to find the proper perspective and unite them. See that everything belongs together, regardless of if you like or dislike, because this is also separation, liking or disliking. Number one, you figure out your own personal way how to ensure that you are starting to love this life, to appreciate the time that has been, to enjoy actually what you yourself are doing. That is the number one of greatness. And then after you have discovered that this is the way, that you liberate yourself to fully enjoy what chances have been given to you in living this existence. This is number one. Then the second one is spread the message that other people discover the same. I think there's nothing bigger, purposeful, more peaceful, more heart fulfilling than these two things. You are feeling good living life, and you make other people feel also good to live their life. And so at the end, everybody feels good living their life, problem solved. That's the greatness.
You become very, very sensitive. What type of physical changes are going on inside of you? What type of emotional changes are you dealing with on a daily basis? How is your mindset? How is the way of your thinking? What type of thoughts? Rising up in the morning, carrying out throughout the day, with what type of thoughts are you going to bed? What type of things are you dreaming? If you are numb, if you are sleeping, you are simply unaware of all of these things that are happening within a 24-hour, within a 7-day week, and within the 30 days, months, and then